Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. I'm sitting here with my cup of coffee, my bookcase in the background, my cats. You can't see them, but they're here. They're waiting. They're watching. I feel like it's been a while since I've actually sat down and talked to the camera. Usually I'm just kind of like vlogging on the go, vlogging as I'm moving, kind of showing you guys more of what I'm doing than sitting down and talking. But it's time for wrap up, book wrap up. It's definitely time to sit down and do a book wrap up. I think I've read about 22 books this year so far. And this is a first quarter wrap up, by the way. Not like, the whole year. Obviously, I'm not going to stop reading. This is for January, February, and March. We're April almost 15th. Have I filed my taxes? It is April 13th, yes. So I want to include all the books that I've read so far this year, my ratings, not super in-depth, maybe give you a little synopsis. And then I also want to show you guys some of the books that I picked up from the thrift store, the library, like book sale rack, and then 2 books that I have borrowed from the library, so they'll go back. And then technically 3 that I'm reading right now. I love simultaneously reading multiple books, especially when they're not in the same like genre, or not genre, but they're not the same storyline. They're not like romance, rom-com. It's like romance, a thriller, and then one that's fiction, but also makes you think like a non-fiction might. I don't know. It's very interesting. But yeah, so happy Sunday. Welcome to the vlog. We're going to be chatting for a bit. Let's get into it. I'm very excited. I'm very, very excited. I woke up this morning like, you need to upload today, but you also need to film today. I don't know. I spent yesterday like cleaning. It's not all the way done. I still have some laundry to do. I have some fun stuff happening, just like life stuff. I'm starting to play tennis this week, so I have some tennis clothes and stuff. I'm rambling. We'll get into it later in the next vlog. I don't know. But yeah, welcome to the 2025 first quarter book wrap up. Everyone's always tapping on things. It doesn't bother me, but I can see how it could be bothersome. But I'm like, I kind of like the tapping. Anyway, so let's get into books. I'm gonna pull up my handy dandy phone. You guys know I rave about this app because it's one of those apps where you buy once and you own it. I love that. It's called Reading List, and I'll have it linked down below like I always do in all my like kind of reading chatty vlogs. It's not super like, because I've seen other apps, I think like Fable, where it like gives you this crazy wrap up where it's like how many romances did I read, how many thrillers did I read, how many da-da-da. It's not like that. But for, I think I paid like $29.99 and I own it for the lifetime. I'm okay with that. So this is, oh wow. So far 2025, and I'll put my stats somewhere on the screen over here, and then I'll also put like book covers and stuff. Even though I own some of the books, I don't really feel like pulling from my bookshelf this morning because I have so many pulled down that I need to like take the stickers off, scan into Reading List, and then put onto my bookshelf. So I'm like, you know what, we're not doing that. I already have other things to clean. I don't need to clean up my bookshelf. I wonder if my bookshelf even looks good in the background. I feel like it's too bright. I'm gonna lower this. Jinx was looking out the window and I'm like, you know what, Jinx, I love you, but like that's very bright. Okay guys, so far in 2025 I've read,
it's editing cheat here. I realized that I said in the video I finished 23 books so far this year, which was inaccurate. I've read 21 books. It accidentally included 2 books that I've read right now in April. So I went ahead and redid the stats, removed those 2 books, and now these are the accurate stats. The rest of the video is correct. I'm only showing you 21 books that I read. I realized at the end, I was like, hold on, these stats don't align. So yes, I've only read 21 books so far this year. And yeah.
That was the year. Let's go for the month. In January of 2025, I read 7 books. That was 2,480 pages. Average book length was 354. Average days to finish was 6. Average rating was a 3.57. So I started off January kind of strong. 3.57, 3.6, you round up. In February, we read 8 books, so 1 up from the last month. And that was 3,329 pages read. Average length was 416. Average days to finish was 7.5, which I find very interesting because you would think, how are you reading 8 books if the average days? I dual read. So like 2 books will take me like 7 days to read, but that's me reading 2 books. If I'd actually stopped and just read one at a time, it'd probably take me 3 days. You know what I mean? Like it evens out. But yeah, and then my average rating was 2.81, so we dropped. We dipped a little bit. Oh, March we dipped. Oh my God, okay, all the way. I read 6 books in March, so 2 down from February. 1,895 pages read, so down 43%. Wow, that's a big drop. And then average page length was 379. Average days to finish was 8.8. And then average rating, 2.17. So I need April to actually pick me back up, which I do think April will be like feel like it's gonna be a good month because I'm reading one book and I'm like loving it. Loving it. Let me go to my list. I'm just gonna run through them super quickly and just give ratings. Not gonna go in depth because I did read 23 books. That's why I can't do like an end of the year wrap up, because like who's gonna sit here and listen to me talk about like 100 books? Knock on wood, that's the goal that I read. Actually, the goal's like 80, but still. The first book I read this year was Invisible Girl by Lisa Jewell. I gave that a 3-star. Take what you will. And then I found the Ruthless, well actually I don't know what the series is called. Well, the first one I read was Ruthless Creatures by J.T. Gessensinger. I'm sorry, girl. And I rated that a 5-star. I just loved it. It's smutty. I love the storyline. I love the mafia romance, but also not. I don't know. The way she wrote it, it did something for me. And I loved it. So I gave that a 5-star. Then I read book 2, which was, what was her name? It was the friend of the female main character in the first one. I gave that one a 4. And then here's one that's going to be surprising. I read a novel love story about Ashley Poston and I gave that a 3. I wasn't in love with it. I couldn't really get lost in the fairy tale of it. I just kind of like, it was okay, which is surprising because, you know, I just feel like it should have been a 4+ for me, but it wasn't. Maybe I need to reread it. I probably won't, but maybe I do. The next one I read was Luster by Raven Leilani. That book was kind of weird, but like in a good way. It made me a little uncomfortable in some ways. Like the female main character was kind of off her rocker a bit, but I liked it. I rated that a 4, and that's definitely a book I will reread. Because I feel like the second time I reread it, I'll catch on things that I didn't the first time, and it'll be like a good, like, oh, she's a little crazier than I thought. But you know, and these are all January, yeah. The next one I listened to actually was Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera. And I will say, if you have the option to listen to this one or read it, listen to it. I loved the audiobook for it. The sounds, the voices, the action, the actual like podcast, like background noise. I loved it. I loved it. I enjoyed this. And then what sucks is I listened to this one after, and I think because they have similar storylines, well, kind of. They have a similar like podcaster doing a podcast about this mystery vibe to it. This one is called What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall. I gave it a 1.5. I did not. And like I said, I listened to it right after Listen to the Lie, which I did give a 4.5 star. I don't think I said that. So it did take it like down because I was just comparing it in my head like, no, the other one's podcast, like verbiage and dialogue was so much better, and yeah. So I will say, if you want to listen to What Lies in the Woods, make sure it is not right after Listen for the Lie. Like read them separately, or like not back to back, because I think that's what did it for me in terms of like a low rating, because I was just like comparing it in my head. But honestly, even if I wasn't, I didn't really love it. Anyway, the next book I read, and this is actually, yeah, that was the last book for January, going into February books. The first book I read was How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. And you know, I don't think I'm a Grady Hendrix fan. I know that does not matter to them, but it's just, I've read this one, that one I borrowed from the library. I wasn't in love with it. I mean, I gave it a 1 star. It just kind of felt like I was pulling my own teeth to read it. I wasn't enjoying it. The characters I really didn't like. They just kind of annoyed me, or like exasperated me. I think that's the better word. Like everything was just so like frontal lobe headache with them. Like just do it. And they just were like, so that's the second Grady Hendrix book that I read. The other one I own, which is a Southern woman's, the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. I can't remember what I gave that. I think it was less than 3 stars. That was my first Grady Hendrix book. And I read that in Portland. I just, you know, so I don't think I'd be jumping on like more of their books to read. I don't know. I just don't think, and the thing is, I've met so many people that like love their books. Like, oh, it's just not for me. And that's okay. Everything is not for everyone. So the next book I read was Black Girls Must Die Exhausted by Jane Allen. I gave it a 2.5. I was enjoying the book up until the end, where it kind of got to the part where like, why do women have to fall into these boxes for the story to end well? Like, why can't they decide that they want something different, or they get something different and be happy with it too? I just hate the idea that like marriage, kids, and then that's the only way you can be happy. So for me, it kind of felt like she was finding herself. She was deciding that she didn't want these things. She wanted other things. And then at the end, it kind of just felt like, oh, so you just fall back into the standard of what society expects from you. I don't know. I felt like, where did all the thought of, do you actually want these things, where did it go? And also, I don't want to be like one-sided, because you could put all this thought into, do I actually want these things? And then yes, at the end realize, yes, I do. But it just felt like that wasn't really where her thoughts were taking her. I don't know. It was okay. I wanted to love it more. And I'm also not like a fan of books when it centers around like accidental pregnancies, inability to get pregnant, any type of those books. I just don't find it interesting, because I'm not very interested in a storyline revolving children. But I'm also like, if you watch or you see what I watch on YouTube, I'm also not a family vlogger watcher. Like, I don't enjoy YouTube content that's based around like family vloggers and putting children online. That's just not my preference. I just think they're a kid, they're a child. I'm very thankful to have grown up in a time where the only type of pictures and videos your parents have of you are literally on their camcorders that were turned into home movies for just the family to watch, not like posting your first like shower or bath as a child online. I find it weird. So I'm not really a fan of books that center around that, I'll be completely honest. So I think that's probably what took me down a peg. Yeah. Anyway, rant over. Next book I read. Oh my God, why did I give it so low? Oh, I know why. This was the third book, Savage Hearts, Queens and Monsters, book 3. This one was about Riley, which was book 2's character's, female main character's sister. Same kind of idea as her sister. She gets kidnapped and now she's like a mafia boss's kidnappee. Hostage? What a kidnappee? Hostage, my God. I did not enjoy Riley's story. I found her to be annoying. Is it Riley? Let me not mix up her names. Yes, actually, because the first note I have is Riley is insufferable. Also, JT, trying to make us dislike Sloane, which is Riley's sister. Sloane is book 2's female main character. I enjoyed Sloane. She had a sassy mouth, smart mouth. I resonate with women like that, because I do. I'm a sassy, slick mouth woman. So I love Sloane. I really did. I enjoyed it. I think I said I gave the book a 4. I think I gave that book a 4. The first one I got a 5. But I didn't enjoy Riley. I didn't like also the idea that we were supposed to kind of dislike Sloane in book 3 just because Riley had issues with her that weren't even really issues. Like, it was this big misunderstanding of them dating the same guy when she could have just said, hey, why did you date my ex? And she would have been like, I didn't date your ex. I dated a guy who had the same name as your ex. And you just never got to meet him because we broke up before it was anything. Like, the fact that Riley was like hung up on that made her really weird to me. Like, you ever like look at someone's behavior and you're like, you're weird. That's how I felt with Riley. I did not enjoy her. Am I being too honest with this book review? Next book, guys. This little collar, I'm trying to like pop my collar. This is a men's sweater that I thrifted from Goodwill. You can't tell me anything. Hello, Jinx. Do you want to say hi to everyone? They are actually awaiting your feedback for books. You're just purring so loud. You're so happy. And now he's like, I'm going to sit in your lap. The next book I read in February was Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak. And you guys know, you guys read that with me when I was experiencing all those pictures. And I was like, hold on. I'm not scared. But what is this? Why am I reading this at 10 p.m. and there's like a demon under the table? I gave that book, what, a 3.5? Yeah, I gave it a 3.5. I think I was like wanting, not more, what did I say? Oh, I loved how straightforward the main character was. Like, she was a straight shooter. Anything that she saw and didn't like, she was like, done. But there was one part in the book where she was a straight shooter and I was just like, girl, shut up. They're gonna kill you, shut up. And she was just like, And then she was thinking, she's like, oh, I probably shouldn't have said that. And I was like, duh. Why would you tell the killer that you know that they're the killer while you're alone with the killer? Please. Actually, that was one part in the What Lies in the Woods books by Kate Alice Marshall that happened, where I was just like, why would you say that while you're alone with who you think is the killer? Like, the next book I read, Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Surprisingly, it was okay to me. I gave it a 2.5. Again, you guys know I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. Her books make me cry. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Oh, I was sobbing when I finished that book. I mean, I was sobbing. I think it was like a beautiful Sunday. I was in bed sobbing. Boo-hoo crying. but in a good way. Well, I mean, you know. I didn't really enjoy this one. What are my notes? Okay, yeah, and I can't tell you why I like it. No, yes I can. Because you start off the book with two different scenarios. She leaves with the guy, she leaves with her best friend, and then what ensues. I know it sounds crazy if you've read this book or if you're like getting into it, because you kind of know what happens when she leaves with Gabby, when she leaves with the guy. I can't even remember his name. Just a man. He's just a man. He's just a boy. I personally liked the story of when she left with Gabby. And like I said, if you read that part, well, if you read the book, you know why I'm like, you know why it sounds crazy, because like, girl, you like that side? But yes, because I feel like my notes, she was able to have an actual and honest conversation with her parents in this scenario. She got a fresh start in this one, and she became financially secure in this version. And just, I don't know, I really, really like this version. Again, I think it's also my little rant about why can't women find destinies that don't involve the 1, 2, 3 that we're all supposed to want, we're all supposed to desire, we're all supposed to want. Some of us don't want those things, and that's okay. It's okay, in my opinion, like, to step into a perspective or a storyline that doesn't involve the 1, 2, 3, in my opinion. Because I feel like, I don't know. One quote I did like, page 203, divide the pain in two and give half of it to me. I think Gabby actually says that to, what's her name? I can't even remember the main character's name. Hannah. I remember her best friend's name. Yeah, I think Gabby said that to Hannah, and I was just like, if someone said that to me while I was going through something traumatic, oh, I'd be a ball, a puddle of joy. Get a coffee break, because I just do. Moving on, these are still February reads. Yes, did I listen to this? Oh, I listened to this. Also, by the way, the JT Gessensinger books, they were audiobooks. I did not read those physically. I listened to them and I enjoyed it because, you know, I love a good audio smut. I'm just, you know, throwing that out there. If you're used to reading your smut, just try a little audiobook of it and see what happens. So next I listened to Sith and Sparrow by Bren Weaver, which is book 3 in the Ruinous Love trilogy. I think that's what it's called. It's so small that I'm like, I know a lot of people did not like Leather and Lark, which is the second book. A lot of people love Butcher and Blackbird. I think I gave that one a 5-star. The first one, Butcher and Blackbird, chef's kiss, mouth kissing, yes, yes. Leather and Lark, I don't think I liked it as much as Butcher and Blackbird, but a lot of people like did not like Leather and Lark. Like they gave it like a 2. They were like, it was okay. And then they jumped back up with Sith and Sparrow. I liked Leather and Lark. I don't really like the singing. I realize I'm not like a musical singing book reader. Like that's not my trope of choice. Like that's not my love story of choice. And that's why I like the new Ashley Poston book. I was gonna pre-order it, but it's about like musicians or something. And I'm like, you know what? That's just not my thing. But anyway, I'm rambling. So the Sith and Sparrow one, I gave a 4 out of 5. And I did like that it kind of wrapped everything up at the end. I like the couples. Yeah, I did think like the fact that the female main character, what's her name? Ooh, I cannot remember her name. The only thing that just didn't really work for me or didn't make sense is that she wasn't really like the other two where they, you know, the men's. I mean, yes and no. She just kind of like waffled at it. Like she kind of like flailed around a bit with being like a murderer. I don't know. It just kind of felt like off. I feel like if they were gonna go for it and make it like the others where the women do kill men, actually, yeah, they kill like bad men, why just not go for it? I get so that they could build like the accident and then, you know, the whole like caretaking part of it, but why not create it so that like she is actually really good at what she does, being a murderer, and she just ends up getting hurt one time. I didn't really like that she was kind of like floundering around with like killing the bad guys, but also like being so bad at it. I don't know. I just felt like she kind of felt half thought. Like not a lot of thought was put into her actual character as opposed to the other two. I felt like it was more of Fionn, which I'm not mad at. I do like Fionn. I do like his name. I do like the caretaker. So, you know, hey, Fionn can be the star. But if it was meant for her to kind of be the star like the other two in the other two books, I feel feel like they kind of missed that, I don't know. And maybe they developed her really well and I just couldn't feel a sense of connection with her because I'm not a murderer that y'all know of. I'm joking, I'm not. But like, the next book I listened to in February was Brutal Vows, Queens and Monsters, book 4. Actually, this is called Brutal Vows. It's the Queen and Monsters series, book 4. I gave it a 5-star. I loved this one. What is her name, Raina? I loved Raina. I'm sorry, I feel passionately, I feel deeply. Raina was, I feel like to call her a boss bee is such like a, it doesn't say enough of her character. She was a leader, a warrior. Ugh. I loved Raina's character. I mean, she was just so powerful. She was so powerful in her own right and all of the rights. And I loved that Spider got his like happily ever after. I really like their story. I wonder if I have any like notes that I can share that aren't spoilers. This is so funny. I said, love this so far. Definitely redeeming itself from book 3 and Riley's annoying. This might be my favorite in the series, and I think it was. I get 5 stars clean, like a 5 clean. I loved it. I loved Raina's character. I love Spider's, not really redemption, but kind of, because he was kind of getting weird in Riley's book. He was getting a little weird because it was just like, okay, dude, like, back off. So he redeemed himself. I didn't, and honestly, that's like a step back from, or it's stepping back to book 3. I also didn't like the fact that they kind of like made Spider's character not bad, but they made him almost like pathetic or just like so pigeon-headed, is that, or bull-headed is kind of like the word. I didn't like that. Like, why are we taking characters that at this point in the series we know and love, like what's her name, Sloane? Yeah, Sloane, Spider. Why are we taking characters that the readers already kind of know and love and making them the bad guys when there was like a different route and we would have still enjoyed the book? I feel like the author kind of like didn't realize that we had liked these characters so much that trying to make them kind of bad or making them like the bad guy in the further books didn't really work for the audience. Like, we weren't like, oh yeah, we were like, no, we like her. Why is she now all of a sudden this bad person? And then the conflict of why the person's supposed to be bad or like mistaken didn't make sense. Like, I gave you the example with that we're dating the same guy. Did you ever ask her if it was the same guy because you never even saw her with the same guy? No, they just have the same name. Be so for real. I don't like Riley, I'm sorry. Okay, I know she's an imaginary character, but I know someone's out there exactly like her, just living, getting on somebody's nerves. Okay, I think I want to make ribs today. Ribs in a slow cooker. I know what I'm doing for dinner. That's so random. Let me go get my ribs out of the freezer. Hold on. That was super random, but I don't know why. I looked up, saw my barbecue sauce, and I was like, I feel like I want barbecue sauce. And then I was like, oh my god, I have like a huge thing of ribs that I like, you know, chopped up. We're gonna have ribs for dinner. In a slow cooker, because it's almost like 10. And I feel like if I put it in the slow cooker at least by noon, slow or low, by 7, I have ribs. Okay, so anyway, back to books. The next book I read was The Outsider by Stephen King. This I gave 3.5 stars. What did I say? I think I was like wanting more. I think that's what it was, and I think I would talk to you guys about it in a vlog. I was just kind of wanting more, or wanting it to be really creepy. I didn't feel the creepiness of it at the end like I did like during the middle part, because during the middle part, I was reading it at night and I was just like, oh my god, why are you doing this? But like, it was good. Like, I couldn't put it down, but I was also like scared. I wanted that throughout the whole book. Like, I wanted to get to the end and it to not be like, I don't know. I was expecting more. And maybe that's just me being a very, very picky person, but I wanted to be creeped out up until the end. Like, I wanted to put that book down and be like, I'm never reading another Stephen King book at night. Now I'm like, you know, it was okay. Next one I listened to, I'm so glad I just freaking got it on, not Audible. I use Libby. I keep saying like Audible. I use Libby, which is my library's free app for borrowing books, ebooks, and then audiobooks. I got this on audiobook. It's called Crash by Freya McFadden. I gave it 0.5 star. My notes are not very positive. Tegan is dumb as F. Dumb as absolute F. And Polly is sick. Having a kid isn't worth all that. Got it. So Tegan is thankful for... Okay, I can't read this one. It's a spoiler. And I said, who writes blank like this? Frida is blank. Okay, my notes are very... I can't read this without getting like demonetized. I'm very passionate about the books I read, if you couldn't tell. My note section is never blank. So, this one is blank, actually, as I just said that. The next one I read was Pen Pal by J.T. Gessenheimer. I keep guessing. Gessinger. Why am I blanking? Gessinger. I apologize, JT. Gessinger. I have no notes on this, but I do remember reading or listening to this and thinking, this is a very unique smut storyline. Like, spookiness and smut. Not really spookiness, but like ghosts. I can't. That's a spoiler. No. Well, I mean, no, it's not actually, because I don't know. It was a very different smut storyline. I didn't expect it. I don't think anyone would expect it unless I missed it in like the synopsis before you start reading. I completely missed it. I was like, oh, okay. But I enjoyed it. I give it a 3 out of 5, and I have no like significant notes, so I obviously didn't hate it, because if I hate it, I definitely have notes. I feel like March was a very audiobook heavy month. Maybe that's actually why my stats were so low, because I'm not necessarily reading pages, I'm reading like, or listening to audio pages, you know? But anyway, the next one I listened to is The Wedding People by Alison Espach. If I can get this book physical, which I know I can just order it or thrift it. Thrifting it would make me so happy. You're going to like thrift, what is it called? The thrift bookstore? Not the thrift book. My camera's overheating. I might have to take a break. Let's power through this. The Wedding People by Alison Espach. I gave a 5-star. I freaking love the book. I listened to it on Libby, and it was just so, I loved the storyline. I loved the thoughts. I loved the conversations. Everything about this book I loved. And it was unique. The storyline, I've never read a book even close to the same storyline at all. And I loved it. I loved it. Again, this is a book, if I see physically, I'm gonna buy it just to have it on my shelf and probably reread. I just really enjoyed it. Listening to it, I laughed, I was sad. It gave me all the emotions that you really want to get in a good book, but this was a 5-star for me. I really did enjoy this book. The next one I listened to was The Last One at the Wedding by Jason Rekulak. I gave this one a 1/2 star. I have thoughts. I have 42%. Oh my gosh, just tell him. Gwendolyn is annoying. And I said, whoa, this book completely lost the plot. And then Frank really is an idiot, ... Wow. So this book was just like stupid at running after stupid. Like, it just felt like Frank was just not learning. Like, he was just not understanding, like, this person you trusted, they betrayed you or lied to you or said, you know, whatever. And then the next quarter of the book, I'm gonna try trusting this person again. Frank! For such like a pessimist, negative person, you would think that they would be smarter in the sense that like they have no optimistic feelings about things. Meaning if you do wrong here, you're gonna do wrong here. So I'm gonna make sure that I just keep, he was like, they're all bad and da-da-da-da. Trust them. Frank, what are you doing? I'm way too passionate about books. I need to relax. When I go to get a checkup in like a few months, I'm like, your stress levels, I'm like, it's the books. Reading is not calming, guys. Have you seen the way I read? I'm way too invested in these books. But he just get on my nerves. And I hate in books when they're like, I have something to tell you. Okay, tell me. I have to wait till tomorrow. Well, you're gonna be dead by tomorrow. Everyone knows that you're gonna die. Everyone who reads thrillers knows that that person is now dead or missing. Jason. So I give this one a 1/2 star. Next one. This one I actually enjoyed. This one I'm actually surprised because I do have book 3 in front of me from the library, and I'm not usually a multi-book reader. What? A series reader. Jesus, I'm forgetting the word. Unless it's like a smut that I'm listening to and I kind of like all their storylines. But in general, when it comes to like non-smut books and even a lot of smut books, I'm not a series reader. I'll read one book and I'm like, oh great, it makes number 2 and 3. I prefer reading just standalones because I don't really care if the story like continues, especially with the same characters. It's very rare that I'm reading a book that has the same characters in each one, because usually I get like, okay, your story's done. Next. I'm surprised, but this one is called Good Girl, Bad Blood, the sequel to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which I do own, by Holly Jackson. This one I gave a 3.5. It wasn't as good, if I remember, as the first one, only because the person of like missing interest. Just, I didn't feel like a deep pull to his character. He was flaky in his regular life. He ran off in his regular life. So when he went missing, I didn't feel like a deep what the heck, like I did with like Sal, because Sal was like a good kid. So him not going missing, but like, actually if you've read the book, it says on the back dying or, you know, killing himself. That sucked because it was like, that just was out of character. So you know that there was something wrong. There was something amiss. This one, it was hard because like, it's almost like if you have someone who runs away from home every week and then they go missing and the parents are like, they're missing. You're like, okay, or did they just run away from home this week? You know, like, don't make me empathize with the people that are like, oh, he's gonna come back. Because I want to be like, no, go look for him. But I found myself kind of like, you're saying that he runs off often and now he's missing and you need Pippi to like do this, like, please, da da da. It's like, dang, Pippi like kind of destroyed herself in the first book doing this, like emotionally, mentally, and I mean, there's like a part in there where she loses something, somewhat. I won't say something, but like she loses a part of her and her life, and it's just like, you're begging her to do it again, but not for a character that we could all like get behind. I know that like sucks, but like, again, if it was like another Sal or another character who just lived a life and just something happened, I get it. But like, Connor, your brother ran away like often, or like disappeared often, and now he's missing. It was a bit hard to like get on board with that in the beginning. I just kind of felt like Pippi, I knew she was gonna do it because obviously that's the book, but I was like, girl, I would not be mad at you if you were like, okay, your brother's probably just gonna be home in like a week. Granted though, the twist was very weird. Not good, not bad, but like, I think the twist was just weird. Like, what the, like, it just came out of nowhere that I was kind of like, the next book, did I listen to this? All these are audiobooks after this. The Good Girl, Bad Blood was a physical from the library. The rest of these, oh, these are actually April. I have one more for March, and that was called Lovely Bad Things by Trisha Wolfe. I give it a half star. I don't know what I did listen to when I was listening to this. I have no notes. Actually, I do have a note. My note is literally just ... What the? I don't even know. My camera's overheating. I'm going to turn you guys off, let you rest, charge you, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to show you guys. Actually, I'm going to show you guys the books that I have, but like face down, because this is a lot of talking. This is a lot. I'm going to do a lot of talking there, but you don't need to see my face for all of it. So I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Let me go make sure I was going to say thighs. Let me go make sure my ribs are defrosting because we're doing ribs for dinner in the slow cooker. I want to go through some of the new books that I got from either the thrift store or my library's sale rack, and 2 books that I have borrowed from the library, 2 other ones I own outright. These 2 over here I'm actually currently reading, and I own these ones. These aren't library books. The first one I'm reading is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston, and I'm loving this book so far. I'm currently on page 147, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I can't even lie. I've been smiling, I've been giggling, just like very audible, but you guys know, again, I'm very dramatic when it comes to books. I get very invested, but I'm really enjoying this book thus far. So this is the first one that I'm reading. I'll probably finish it up, honestly, this weekend. Then the next book that I am reading it's still a fiction, but it kind of just, it makes you think. It's about philosophy, and I like the storyline so far. It's like a little girl gets messages in the mail, and she's being asked these questions that even, I mean, not as just a little girl, but as just like a human in general, how often do you really think about these things? Likely never. And she's kind of going through the whole thing of like, who am I? What am I? What does this mean? How does reason work? What is that? And you know, what does it mean to be a free thinker or not a free thinker? And I'm actually enjoying it so far. I am, see, I can't even put, I'm forgetting to put my like bookmarks on, guys. I'm getting so lazy, but I am on, let me put this on. I'm on Socrates so far. It's like different chapters of different like philosophers, I believe so far. That's what I've noticed. Each chapter is like a different philosopher. I'm on page 58. And again, I'm fresh and new to this book. It's a really nice breakup from other types of books that I'm used to reading, like rom-coms, thrillers, things like that. So it's really nice to have, as I'm not really dual reading because I'm reading 3 books at one time, so I'm reading this time around. It is really nice to have a different kind of, not genre, but a different type of book in my little bundle of reads right now. These 2 are library books, and I have started reading this one. This one is For the Last Time by Heidi Perks. I am on page, let's see, 64. 4, and I used a straw to hold my place because I started this book when I went. I grabbed it from the library and I was like, I want to start this. So I went and stopped, grabbed a margarita, and started reading this at the bar, and it was great. And this was my bookmark. So I'm on page 64. Good so far. Again, I like to just try to always read at least one library book if I have one in my possession, just so I'm not holding on to them for too long. So right now, these 3 being my current reads are kind of perfect. I have a thriller, I have a random book, and I have a rom-com. So, you know, it's like 3 different types of storylines so I don't get them confused. And then this, I was mentioning earlier, this is the 3rd book in the Good Girls Guide to Murder trilogy. I'm not usually someone who reads a series with the same exact characters, following the same exact people, because I tend to just get bored. But surprisingly, I've actually really enjoyed this trilogy by Holly Jackson. I own the first book. The second book I rented at the library, and I've since brought it back because I already read it. This one I'm actually excited to read. It is kind of like a big, it looks big anyway. I don't think it's that many pages. Okay, 400 and something, kind of like the other ones. But yeah, this is my library book. I only have 2 right now because, again, I don't want to like hoard too many books, because sometimes I get super excited and I just have like a bunch of holds ready to pick up, and I end up with like 7 library books, and that's not good because I can't read all 7 in like a week. I mean, maybe one day I could, but listen, I got stuff to do, okay? The next 4 books, these are mine. I actually thrifted the first one, and the next 3 I purchased at my library's like shelves that they have like sale books for like $1 or $3, I think. This one I have not gotten this sticker off. I got this from Goodwill for $2.49. This one is The Family Plot by, let's see, Megan Collins, because it's covered on the front. This one I don't even remember what it's about. It just looked good. I love a good thriller, guys. You know, anytime I see a thriller, I grab it. So I have this. Then the next one, this one I'm actually really excited to read because I couldn't have guessed what the storyline would be. This one is called How Lucky by William Leach. This one, if I'm not mistaken, it's a guy who's kind of like housebound, and he looks out the window one day and he sees someone getting kidnapped. Like, I think one of his neighbors getting kidnapped. And I was like, immediately, yes, I have to read this book. I don't know why, but it just seems like it's going to be such an interesting storyline. I don't think so much tragedy, even though there's kidnapping, listen. I just think it's going to be so fun to read. I hope this does not break my heart, honestly. But yeah, so I'm really excited to read this. It's called How Lucky by William Leach. Then the next book I have is called The Sweetness of Water, a novel by Nathan Harris. I love the cover of this. It looks beautiful. This one I can't remember. I believe it's kind of like set, yes, post-Civil War. Oh no, during the Civil War. I believe this is like a historical fiction, so obviously not based on the exact events, but it does involve some actual events, you know, so just like the storyline behind that, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but I believe it is a historical fiction. I feel like this is going to be very interesting to read. I do think it's going to be like a tearjerker, I'm not gonna lie. And then the last book I got from the library bookshelf is called Small Angels by Lauren Owen. Do I even remember what this is about? I think it's like a witchy book. Ooh, sisters grew up, a lonely teenager drawn to the sisters, planning dream wedding, she has a dress. I actually do not remember, but listen, it sounded good when I read it in the library, so I picked it up and it was $3. These 2 are actually book of the month books. I'm not signed up for book of the month, but I watch so many people on YouTube that are, and they have such good experiences with it. I wonder if that's something I should do. I don't know, but I also do love thrifting books so much that sometimes I'm like, you know what? Let's just go spend the day out with a coffee or a matcha and get some books. I'm so excited to add all these books to my bookshelf. I need to add them to my reading list app so I can categorize them. But yeah, I cannot believe it. Hardcover books, $3 a piece, and then this $2.50. You just can't beat it. I love thrifting books. I love going to the library to check out books, to buy those sale books, and even to, I keep forgetting the thrift books. There's like a store that's like thrifted books, but it's not a thrift store. I cannot remember the name. I've gone a few times and I'm blanking, but I just absolutely love it. Guys, that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed the vlog, just chatting about books. I feel like it's been a while since I've chatted about books, but I'm still here reading. Getting lost in a story is my thing. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the wrap up for books. I hope you enjoyed this part.